In the 2018 edition of the Absa Africa Financial Markets Index, we actually observe a couple of interesting shifts within the index. The first one is that for the first time after the publication of the first edition, you actually realize that South Africa is in first in almost every pillar. Among the 6 pillars. In the first one, they were first in almost all the pillars. In the second edition, Kenya actually overtook South Africa from an access to foreign exchange perspective, mainly because Kenya's reserve to portfolio flows was much lower than South Africa's, just because of the openness of the South African economy. Now, this impacted on the overall ranking for South Africa under the access to foreign exchange pillar. And then you realize that countries like Nigeria also overtook South Africa from a market data, tax, and regulatory transparency perspective. And this goes to show how markets like Nigeria have put an emphasis on building a very strong financial markets architecture that supports and makes it easy for investors to invest in their market. So these are quite interesting things. And then if you move beyond that, you also realize that a country like Kenya actually made a very strong showing in the second edition by progressing 2 notches in terms of its ranking within the index. And this is as a result of a couple of things that Kenya decided to focus on within the period under review to make sure that its financial market is much stronger and becomes much more competitive than it was a year ago. Then one interesting observation was also Mauritius, which dropped from a 2nd position to a 4th position, mainly because of certain administrative procedures that were introduced that impacted its market makers within the foreign exchange market. And going forward, countries like Mauritius will really need to work hard to make sure that they come back up and regain the position that they used to have previously. So overall, it's been an interesting tool. It's been a tool that has really compared one African country to the other, and importantly, position countries in different pillars such that one country can actually learn from the other in terms of what they are doing very well on.